So this week we're going to be focusing completely on core. So we're going to be talking a lot about abdominals, about back, about posture, and all those really lovely things that we need doing. And next week we'll be a bit more vigorous, as one might say. So you're just going to need a long resistance band, and we're going to start standing. We're going to do a nice standing body weight workout. This is really to help us get our heart rate up. And also that little reminder that our bones love challenge, our bones love load, and our bones also like a little bit of speed and a little bit of tempo. So that's where we're going to do it here. So I want you to start with your feet hip width apart for me, ladies. I want you to give those toes a little wiggle and press them into the floor. So remember, we want to be balanced across the big toe, little toe, and center of the heel. We're then going to bend the knees and give the arms a little swing. And this is just to make sure we're not holding on to any tension. We're super relaxed. And then we're going to finish with our hands on our hips, keeping those knees soft. We're then going to tilt our pelvis forward and back. So we get this really big stretch or movement through the lower back and hips. And then I want you to find your neutral, which is that halfway point, which remember is going to be slightly different for everyone. And then we stretch those legs. We then imagine those hips, ribs and shoulders floating one on top of the other. And then we relax our hands down, we close our eyes, and we just start by taking some nice deep breaths in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. But I want you to just give me a couple of these, ladies. And as you breathe in, big inhale through the nose and big exhale through the mouth. So the goal is that we just take a little moment to kind of sink in with breath and body before we start. Final one here, big breath in and release. We're then going to open the eyes and gently scan the head from right to left. So there's no stress or tension. We just let our head float from side to side. We then bring it back to center and we tilt right ear to right shoulder, left ear to left shoulder. Just consciously thinking of the shoulder blades drawing away from the ears and then continuing into a little semicircle forward. So we're just circling the head forward very gently. One more in each direction for me. And then we're going to finish with our chin to our chest, let that head float back up. I then want you to lift your shoulders all the way up by your ears and then big exhale, drop down the back. Lift, and then it's like, let it go. Two more. And drop. Last one. And drop. From there, 3 big shoulder rolls backwards. 3. Really opening up the chest. 2. And 1. Hands come onto shoulders. 3 big elbow rolls. 3. And 2. And 1. Letting go of those shoulders. 3 big arm circles. Lifting the chest as we go. 3. 2 more there, ladies. Stretch. 2. Last 1. We finish with those hands all the way up to the ceiling, and then you're going to touch the ceiling with your right hand and touch the ceiling with the left hand. And really this goal is to find elongation and length through the sides of the body. So you can give me 1 more on each side. And then we're going to finish with our hands across our chest. From there, I want you to keep your hips facing the front, but I very gently want you to rotate your rib cage to the right, keeping your chin in line with the center of your chest. Then we come back through center, and then we rotate to the left. Now, remembering that we do need to have rotation in our daily movement practice, but we're being mindful of the range that we do it in. This is our warm-up, right? So that's why we've got our hands close to our chest. We're making it very, very small just to create gentle movement through that thoracic. Now you're going to finish your last one to the left and come back to center. Now from there, we're going to do a little mini circle with the spine, okay? So you're just going to do a very small side bend to the right and then little side bend to the left. Now this is, this is no bigger than what we would do in our day-to-day life. And that's what we kind of have to remember is we don't want to be afraid of movement. We don't want to restrict movement. We want to be able to move well, okay? Now, from there, you're going to hold that little side bend. And then all I want you to do is just look down towards your toes, as if you're kind of peering off the edge of a building. You're then going to circle over to the left And now this is the important part. As you come around, you're going to lift your breastbone. Imagine lifting out of your hips as you circle all the way back around. And then we repeat. We look, just look over the edge of our invisible building, over to the left, lift up and out of those hips as we come around. So you can see it's a very gentle rotation, and we're just trying to mobilize that upper back. Good, ladies. We're going to reverse now. So now we're going to side bend to our left. We're going to lift up. So we're going to lift up out of our hips as we circle around to the right and back. And it's literally like someone picks your rib cage up, out, and we get this very gentle extension in the spine. You're going to do this last one here for me, ladies. Lifting out of that waistline as you come all the way back. And I want you to stand up nice and tall and place those hands on your hips. From there, we're going to make sure we've got our feet in a nice wide stance. We're going to have our knees softly bent, and we're going to hinge forward from the hip joint, keeping the spine and the waistline long. And then we're going to stand up nice and tall. And we're going to do 4 or 5 of these at a nice even pace, because we want to get a bit of heat into that body, right? And we don't want to be scared of moving fast. We've got 3 more here. 3. Making sure hips drive the movement. 2. Good work, gang. Last one here. Hinge and up. From there, we're just going to turn the feet out slightly. So we've got room for the hips. Keeping those hands across the chest, we're going to come into a nice low squat, and we're going to stand up nice and tall. And I want you to think, weight is in your heels. You should be able to give your toes a little wiggle at the bottom. That's a really good indicator. And I want you to think of that hip hinge action. So push back and up. Nice, guys. 6 more here. We go 6. And lift. We go 5. Good, ladies. Really nice. Imagine pushing the floor away and standing tall. Last 3. Good. Lovely long spines. 2. Chest is lifted. Last one, best one ever. See if we can maybe hold it down. See if you can give me 5 little pulses downwards. We go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stand up nice and tall and relax those hands down. Beautiful, guys. So from there, we are coming into a static lunge. So we're going to have right leg forward and left leg back. Now, make sure we're not on a tightrope, yeah? We want to have those feet hip width apart. We want to keep our back heel lifted, and that's important because it distributes the weight in the right place. Bending both knees at 2 90-degree angles and pushing back up. Bend and stretch. Now, it does not matter if you can't get all the way down. What's important is that you use your back leg to assist that front leg so we don't get lots of pressure through that front knee, right? We distribute that weight evenly. Now, this movement is super important because if we want to be able to get up and down off that floor comfortably, we've got to be able to do a lunge, right? Super functional. We've got 2 more here. And our last one, I'm going to hold it. And you're going to see if you can give me 5 little pulses down. 5, 4, 3. Keep breathing. 2, 1. And then you're going to step those feet together. Woo! Bit of heat in that body, and we're going to step the other leg back. So we're ready for the other side. Hands can go on hips. Sometimes it's nice to clasp them together. Long spine. Think 90-degree angle. Good. Push through that back leg. We've got 6 more here. Woo. Nice deep breath. 5. And remember, we want to get our heart rate up. We want to challenge our body in different positions. Okay. Last 2. Now this last one, we stay down there. We've got 5 little pulses. We go 5, 4, control, 3, 2, 1. Step those feet together. Good. Give those legs a lovely little shake. So talking of different directions, let's come and stand on the left side of our mat. And we're going to take a big step out with our right leg. Toes and knees are pointing the front of the room. You're going to push your hips back and take your weight over that leg. Exactly. And then you're going to stand up nice and tall. And usually it's good to have hands in like a little prayer position or on your hips. Push. Good, guys. Now, the more confident you feel, the bigger you can make that step, right? Remember, all of these exercises can be easily scaled. So if you want to make it smaller, you can. What I want you to think of is loading that hip. Bend the knee and push those hips back. You've got 2 more here. Push those hips back. Yes, ladies, last one. Push. And then step those feet together. Good, then we're going to shuffle over to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing over again. Big step out with that left foot this time. Good. And just watch what's happening with your knees and your toes. Are you really pushing your weight backwards into your hip? So that's what's going to help us awaken or get those muscles in the back of the body moving, right? We all use our quads, our thighs. We don't use our glutes as much as we could, right? So think bum back. We've got 3 more here. 3. Good, guys. Remember, as you build confidence, make it bigger. 2. Good. Last one ever. And then standing up nice and tall. Give those feet a lovely little shake. Now, I'm actually going to take my socks off for this one because we are going to do teeny bit of balance. We're just going to start off with our basic heel raises. So if you need to hold on to something, you can. Otherwise, I'll turn to the side so you can see. We're just going to lift our heels up off the mat and lower our heels back down. Super simple lift up and down. We do 3 or 4 of these. Now, I want you to think of pushing through the base of the big toe and the base of the little toe. So we're not pushing through our toes, but we're pushing through the base, right? To give us lots of stability, okay? We're also keeping our 3 circles aligned and we're growing tall the whole time, right? Every exercise is a posture and balance exercise if we want it to be, yeah? Last one here, lift. See if you can hold it an extra second and then relax and come back down. Exactly the same thing, but this time you're going to step your right foot forward. Now, I want you to make sure when you're in this position that you've shifted your weight evenly into both feet. And we're not doing a little supermodel look and hitting on our back leg. Shift the weight forward. Same thing. Now, obviously, we have a much narrower stance, so it's a harder to balance because we have a smaller base of support or a narrower base of support. Remember, you can always use a little balance aid or the wall to help. We've got 3 more here. Super calm, keeping that posture. Now, can you think of going straight up and down rather than shifting forward and back? You see the difference if I shift or if I've got to keep my posture and lift up. So I'm having to use all that work in my feet and my calves. You've got your last one here. See if you can hold it in the air for a second. Lower down with control and switch those legs over. So we can do the same thing on the other side. Make sure you shift your weight forward so you've got even weight through both feet and lift up. Yes, guys, nice work. Straight up and down. Tall posture, long spine, right? Nice and fluid. That's another thing when we balance, we want to be relaxed. We don't want to hold tension. We've got 3 more here. Yes, guys, 2 more. Right up onto those tiptoes. Last one, we're going to hold it in that balance. Good. Control all the way down. And then give those legs a lovely little shake. Very nice. So, final standing exercise is going to be our curtsy lunge. Great. We already started to work the sides of the leg, but this is particularly good. So we're going to start with a nice wide stance. We're going to step our right foot behind us. Now, you must come onto the ball of that foot. And what I want you to try and do is to turn the hips to face the front. So we've got our spine in that lovely long alignment. You're going to bend both your knees. Then you're going to stand up and you're going to step those feet back together. And then you're going to do the same thing. Left foot goes behind. Curtsy. Everything faces the front, feet, knees, hips and ankles, and step out. I just want you to do a couple of these in your own pace, right? Because if you can move faster, I want you to move faster, right? If you find you need to go a bit slower to make sure you've got that alignment, then go slow. I want you guys to choose your own pace. But remember, right? Often we fall into that trap that we've been told we need to be really fragile. And yes, we need to move well and we need to move with care. but we need to challenge our bones. And that comes from being on our feet, resistance training, impact work, and also like different speeds, different directions. So this is all super, super important, and also really mindful to put into your mind, like how can you challenge your body and feel safe and feel strong at the same time, yeah? Gonna do 4 more. Oh my God, I've got to do some more cardio because talking and this at the same time. Good, last one, ladies. And then stepping those feet together. Do we all feel warm? Yes. So now we're going to get down on the mat. Make sure you've got your resistance band with you. And I would say as well, maybe a little cushion for your head, just because it tends to take a little bit of pressure off the neck when we're lying on our back. So we're going to come onto our back, little cushion to support the head, and band to hand. So always onto your side first, if you can, and then onto your back, okay? Now, from there, what's really important to do is just to relax the spine into the floor. This is a really nice way to decompress our back, right? So just taking a couple seconds when you do get down on the mat to just take some nice deep breaths. The same way we did when we were standing, nice deep breath in and out. And as you do these breaths, ladies, I want you to just bring a bit of consciousness to where you're breathing. I don't want you to change it. I just want you to notice in your body, am I feeling it in my chest? Is it going into my belly? Maybe it's my rib cage. Like naturally just kind of bring a bit of awareness to where you're breathing. Because now we're going to be consciously adding that breath. So when you're ready, I just want you're going to do a little warm up for the core. So you're just going to step right foot to tabletop, left foot to tabletop, right foot down, left foot down. And I want you to just alternate your leading leg. And I want you to do it at a nice pace. You know, like we said before, we want to have different pace, different rhythm, okay? Now we all know, or we've probably talked about it a lot before, we want to try and keep our back in a neutral position when we're working here. Now, all that really means is the spine's natural position. Now, if you find that you get gapping or arching, or you're not even sure if you're in neutral, you can take your resistance band and place it underneath your lower back. You'll know if it's underneath your lower back because when you're lying down, it should be able to move. And when your legs are lifted and you're in neutral, your band won't move. So this is a really good little practice to check. Okay, can I do all this work and maintain my neutral spine, right? Or is maybe my back lifting a little bit and I'm able to slide my band underneath? So it's a really good little tester. Now, once you've done a couple of those, I want you to finish with your legs in tabletop, and everyone's just going to place their hands on the front of their thighs. You can lift the elbows slightly, and I want you to take a big breath out through the mouth and push hands into thighs, thighs into hands. And then release, breathe in. Exhale, push hands into thighs, thighs into hands. And repeat. We're going to do this 2 or 3 times. The goal is that every time you exhale and you press down, you'll feel contraction through the legs, but we also want to feel it in the abdominals, right? That's where that exhale comes from. That feeling that when you breathe out, the abdominals narrow and draw into the center of the body. Last one here, exhale. And then just pull the knees in just to give that lower back a little release. Maybe even rock those knees from side to side. So now we've started to warm up that core. We're aware of where our back wants to be and our abdominals. You're going to come back to tabletop and keep a very light pressure, maybe like 50% of what we just did. From there, you're going to keep pressure in the left hand and left leg as you stretch the right hand and the right leg away, and then come back. Gentle pressure, change sides. So we're not pushing to create a lot of force. We're just connecting in order so that you can feel exactly what we want to be like working. We're aiming to work through the center, okay? Good, guys. Nice. And for this particular move, I actually want you guys to slow this one down. We've been doing fast. Now I want you to go slow. Yes, that's it. So now we've got to really be able to maintain that back, that core. You're going to give me one more on each side, guys. Good. And then once you've finished, I want you to hug those knees into the chest. Good. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? Everyone give me thumbs up if we feel good here. Yeah? So let's make it slightly harder. Now, because we're going up a notch, if this doesn't feel good, I want you to come back to this exercise, okay? So every exercise, we're building up the intensity a little bit. Now, from there, we are just going to open the hands out a little bit wider. We're going to press our shoulder blades into the mat, and you're going to lower both of the legs down as far as you can without your back arching, and then lift back up. And this is where the band is really helpful. For me, I really start to lose it here. You see, I can slide it. So there I know I've started to arch my back, okay? So it's not a big movement, and it's probably going to surprise you, right? So use that band as that little guide. Sometimes we need to kind of go to our furthest range to understand where we need to stop, yeah? Good. And you're just going to give me maybe 2 or 3 more of these. Think of exhaling and scooping those knees back towards you, yeah? Yes, ladies, good. Once you finish that last one, hug those knees into the chest. Good. So you see, it's not a big movement, right? It's hard, much harder work than we assume. So from there, we're going to make it slightly harder, and I'm going to use that band there as a guide as well. We're now going to extend our legs out and in. Now, again, for me, I'm keeping a pull on that band to check. Now, if you find that your back is starting to arch, you're going to extend those legs up a little bit higher. But I want you to think of coming to tabletop and then stretching the legs and then pulling the knees back in. So it's not just straightening and bending the legs, it's active. We're moving through the movement, and then exhale, drawing it in. You're going to give me about 3 more here. 3. Good. Squeeze those legs together. 2. Good. Last one. And then in. Good, guys. Squeeze those legs together. Beautiful. How are we doing? We want a bit harder? Yeah. Kay's like, yeah, like, please. So the next one, you're going to make a little diamond with your hands, and you're going to put them underneath your tailbone. Now, what this does is just gives our pelvis a little bit of support, okay? You've got 2 options. Option number 1 is you keep your legs in tabletop. You'll find it's a little bit easier than it was before. Option number 2, we're going to keep our legs straight. And I want you to point those feet for me. Yes. We're going to lower the legs down as far as we can without losing that connection in our center. And then we're going to lift back up. And you'll notice, because our hands are here, we've got much more range because our hands are helping just support that pelvis. It tilts the pelvis up slightly. It's easier for us to engage those abdominals, yeah? Everyone's just going to give me 3 more here. Remember, you can do them with knees bent if it feels too much. Find your bite point. Good, guys. Last one. Lower. Point those feet. Stretch the back of those knees, guys. Longest legs you've ever had in your life. And then hug those knees into the chest. Good. Okay, gang. Very nice. So there's some really simple core exercises, okay? Mainly lower abdominals and hip flexors. So let's give them a little bit of a stretch out. I would get rid of your cushion just for your bridging series, just to keep the back of the neck lovely and long. We're then going to press our hips up towards the ceiling. So now we stretch the front of our thighs, and then you're going to roll down through each vertebra. Tailbone is the last thing to hit the mat. So we lift up in one smooth motion, but we roll down through the spine. And then we're going to do a few of these. So hips come up, and then we roll down. Okay, and this is really that chance for us to stretch the hip flexors, because when we're doing all of those exercises, the abdominals are stabilizing our center, right? Keeping our core and our body in that position. But it's our hip flexors that are generating that force in the legs. So this is a good way to stretch them and work our glutes at the same time. Everyone's going to give me 2 more of those. And enjoy that roll down. Last one, everyone keep your hips in the air for me. Stretch your hands all the way back behind you. Now very gently kind of press the backs of your hands into the floor as you roll down through the chest, through the abdominals, through the lower back, tailbone, big circle as the arms come around. They then lift up as you stretch the hips to the ceiling. You leave the hands there, gentle pressure into the floor, and then roll down through the chest, through the middle back, lower back, tailbone, and circle those arms around. You've got one more here, guys. Lift those hips up, stretching back. Now really enjoy that articulation. Hopefully we've opened up that back. We've got a bit more movement. And then circle the hands, leave them down by your side. Good work, gang. So let's come on to all fours for me. We're going to do a little bit of a warm up for the shoulder joint, and we're going to do a little bit of work for our wrists. Now, first thing I want you guys to do, we make sure we're in our nice flat back, okay? Wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. And I want you to just start by shifting your weight forward and backwards on your wrists. So you're putting pressure on the wrists forward and back. A couple times, side to side. Again, this is an important area that we need to strengthen and we need to load. And then circles, okay? Circles in each direction. Now for the next exercise, I want you to come to the center. You're then going to lift the heel of your right hand up and lower it down. And then you're going to lift the heel of your left arm up. And you're going to alternate side to side. So what this is doing is meaning that we have to flex and extend our wrist joint, right? So wrists have to be supple and strong, okay? So you're going to give me 4 more here. 3, good, 2, and 1. Keeping those hands flat on the floor, and I want you to turn your palm around as far as you can, so fingertips point to the other direction, and the other hand, and then change. And we're going to do a few of these, okay? Alternating side to side. Now the goal is that we want to warm up those hands and wrists, and we're also going to talk a little bit about grip and tendon strength while we're here. Now from there, guys, what I want you to do is put your hand flat on the mat, and I'm zooming in so you can get a good look of my hand. Now a lot of the time when we practice, and ignore my hyperextended elbows, we love to put our palm flat into the mat. But actually we want to have like a little tiny bit of a lift in our palm, and a good exercise to practice, I want you to keep your fingers long, and I want you to draw your knuckles up towards the ceiling. So you almost make a doming with your hand and then press. Pull and press. Now what this does is helps us to engage, and you probably need to do it, you can do it right hand and then left hand. You can even sit back on your heels slightly if you want to take some pressure off. And the reason we want to do this is we want to strengthen the tendon in the hands to help support the musculature of the wrist. So if you find you get a lot of pain or discomfort when you're working on your wrists, it's often a sign we need to get a bit of strength, not just through the forearms, but through the hands and the fingers. Yeah. So this is super simple. These little exercises you can do to help. All right. From there, ladies, I want you to then come down onto your forearms, because another reason that wrists can hurt when we work on all fours is because we don't have the support from the shoulder, right? It all is interconnected. So what I want you to do is just sink your chest down towards the floor and feel your shoulder blades squeeze together. And then push your forearms into the mat and feel the shoulder blades spread apart. So you're just going to give me about 8 of these, slowly down and then push up. So the goal is that we want to feel the movement across the shoulder blades, right? We want to have that feeling when we push our forearms into the mat and our chest lifts, and we've got this lovely extension in the back of our neck. And what this does is helps us to discover all those lovely muscles that work around the shoulder joint that help to support and stabilize when we're doing all fours work or when we're loading our wrists. Okay, last 2 here. Yes, gang, last one. Good. So now we're nice and warm in our wrists and our shoulders. We're going to come back to all fours. And we're going to do a little bit of core work. Surprise, surprise. So what I want you to do is I'm going to move my camera back. Tuck your toes underneath for me. And we're going to float our heels, or sorry, our knees 1 inch off the mat. And we're going to hold it there for 5 seconds. And then we're going to release back down. Super simple. Exhale, lift. Keep our flat back. Keep that little lift underneath our palm and release back down. 2 more there. Exhale, lift up. Exhale, flat back and down. Last one. Exhale, lift, hold. Hold a bit longer. Hold a little bit longer. And then come back down. Sit back onto your heels. Little stretch for the feet and takes the pressure off the wrists. Now we're going to add on. If this feels too much, I want you to go back to this exercise. Next level, we're going to be on all fours. We're going to lift our knees up and we're going to tap opposite shoulder. Now the goal is that your weight is going to shift slightly side to side, but you want to minimize it as much as possible, okay? We're going for 8 taps. So here we go, guys. Exhale. Lift those knees 1 inch off the mat. You tap opposite hand to opposite shoulder, minimizing the movement in that body, okay? 8 at your own pace. Good, guys. Really nice. Okay, have you done? Machine. You can sit back into little child's pose when you've done your 8. She's like, and relax. Nice, guys. How did it feel? Marie, how'd you get on? Was it tough? Where did you feel it most, in your shoulders or in your quads? Bit of endurance and stretch for those quads. Nice, guys. So once we have finished those ones, we're going to sit back into our child's pose. And I want you to take some nice deep breaths here, and I want you to try and breathe into your back. Yeah? It's a really easy way to open up the upper back. Or sorry, open up our upper and lower back. Breathe into the back and sides of the rib cage. So take the opportunity, couple nice deep breaths, because in a second, we are going to be working our front, okay? Our front, we're going to be working on our front. Now, coming back to all fours, we're going into our traditional bird dog, okay? So that's opposite arm, opposite leg stretches out and lifts up. Now, what I want you to be careful of is sinking into that shoulder. So you must push that hand away, okay? Hips, knees, and ankles, everything points down towards the mat. And we've got this beautiful elongation. Now, I want you to do about 8 of those at your own pace. The goal is that your transition from side to side is seamless. That's the real indicator if you're strong in your core, that you can maintain your body position as you change sides. If you find you're finding it hard and you're shifting side to side, right? It's that little indicator. We've got to work on those transitions. They're equally as important. Yes, guys, beautiful. Really, really nice. Now I want everybody to finish their last rep with their left leg in the air and their right arm in the air. okay? From there, we're going to do 8 little pulses upwards with the arm and leg. 8, 7, making sure the back doesn't move, shoulders stay stable. Final 4, 3, 2. Now this last one, hold it there. Hold it. 4, 3, 2, 1. And lower back down. Same thing on the other side, right? Be careful when we're pulsing, we're not sinking into that back. Scoop the abdominals, push the mat away. Here we go. 8 lifts. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it there. Keep reaching up, 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 and relax and come back down. From there, what I want you to do is walk your knees back so you're in a kneeling plank position. So you have to shift your hips forward slightly, turn your hands out slightly, and slowly lower yourself down towards the floor. Whew, hardest part. Yes. From there, ladies, we're going to have our wrists, forearms on the mat, legs a comfortable distance apart, elbows in line with your rib cage. You're going to press your pubic bone into the floor and very, very gently lift your chest up and then down, okay? So this is not about big, big, big movements. This is about keeping the back of the neck elongated, right? About just lifting our thoracic, so base of the neck to the bottom rib, so just underneath the bra strap, okay? We're going to do about 3 more like this for me. Super gentle, floating up and down. These are the moments that we have this calmer, more controlled movements. Good. Last one here. And then relax down, maybe give your hips a little wiggle. Good. Okay. So from there, what I want you to do is make a little pillow for your forehead with your hands. Rest the forehead in the hands. Lift the chest up. Now, what I don't want to see is resting on the elbows or the elbows moving, or your butt gripping or your lower back gripping. I want your bum and your lower body to stay relaxed. And when you lift, you're only using that upper back, right? So I'm not coming up very high, maybe a couple inches and release. Lift and release. And the tricky part is, can you do this while keeping that lower body released? Now, I say this because we know the higher that we lift, the more we use the muscles in our lower back, which is good. It's how our back works, right? But with osteoporosis, one of those fracture sites or fracture risk areas is our thoracic spine, right? We don't want to end up with this, we don't want to have bad posture. We don't want to feel collapsed. So we need to particularly focus our intention on strengthening this part of the spine. And it is smaller and it's not as big, huh? So to make this slightly harder, we're going to add on. So you're going to lift your chest for me the same way. You're going to take one hand or one arm up to the forehead in a salute. You're going to keep it there as you lower it down towards the floor. And then you're going to change hands. We're going to do the same thing. Chest lifts up. Arm comes to the salute. Releases and coming back down. Good, guys. Alternating side to side. Okay. And I want you to focus that when you take that arm off that mat, you don't lose any height in that chest, right? Even if you drop like 0.5 centimeter, the goal is we can maintain that height. Yes. Now, if this feels like it's challenging enough, you're going to stay here. If you want that extra challenge, you're going to bring your second arm up. So you'll go chest, first arm, second arm, we hold it there a second before we release down. And if you don't feel ready to do that, then I want you to keep one hand on the mat, right? It's all about layers and progression. You have to do what's right for you, okay? We're going to do about maybe 3 more of these. Good, guys. Really, really nice. Beautiful. Last one. Very nice. And then I want you to just sit back into a little child's pose for me and take those 3 deep breaths in this position. Don't rush it. Sit on those heels, walk those hands forward, rest the forehead on the mat, 3 deep breaths. You can also bring your hands down by your side if it's not comfortable for your shoulders, or if it's not comfortable for your knees, you can always lie on your back, okay, with your knees in towards your chest. So choose which option works for you. But this is that rare opportunity we can get that breath and open up that back, okay? Now, once you finish your 3 breaths, we're going to come back onto our front. That always feels like such a weird thing to say. Back onto our front. And we're going to do a little progression from our bird dog. So we're going to be lying on our mat, kind of like a star. So we're going to have each arm and each leg at the 4 corners of our mat, okay? If you've got your little cushion, you can rest your forehead on it. If not, you just have to keep your nose hovering off the mat. And we're just going to start by just reaching our fingertips as far forward as we can in front of us, and then pulling our shoulder blades down our back. So I'm keeping my arms straight. I'm reaching my fingertips forward, letting my shoulders come up by my ears, and then sliding my shoulder blades down my back. And I want you guys to do a few of those. It's literally just like a little shoulder shrug, right? We keep our arms straight. We reach the fingers up. We pull the shoulders down. And this is important, right? Because particularly in this movement, if we want to get the range of motion, right, of taking that shoulder up towards the ceiling, we have to kind of tuck it into the socket or have that feeling of pulling it into the socket. So this is like our little prep. So on your next one, I want you to pull those shoulders into the socket and I want you to hold it there. I then want you to lift opposite arm, opposite leg off the mat, keep the chest on the floor for the moment, and then change. I want you to just give me about 4 of those. With that feeling of like pulling the arm and leg up into the socket and then down. Good. Now, once you've finished your 4 there, we can progress to lifting head and chest off the mat. So same thing, we lift up and down. It's always a little bit easier when you start to lift that chest. Now, obviously, we're lifting much higher up in our body now. So we are using that lower back, which is good. We want to strengthen it. We want to fortify it. So make sure you just very gently press your pubic bone into the floor to help give us that little bit of support. And this you can lift as high as you like, right? As high as feels comfortable for you. We've worked that thoracic. Our back is nice and warm. We want to use it all now. You're going to give me 1 more in each direction. And once we've finished our last one, you can relax. Bend your knees for me and drop your feet from side to side. Very nicely done, gang. So once we finish those, we are going to come onto our side and we're going to work on our side plank. So this is important not only for shoulder strength, but for obliques. It's harder to work your obliques when you've got osteoporosis because we can't, you know, twist. We can't do any of those traditional crunchies. So we've got to do it in positions like side plank. So you've got 2 options. You can either keep your knees bent and your heels in line with your bottom, or option 2 is you're going to pop, you have your legs straight and your underneath leg bent. Everybody lift that underneath rib cage up for me. Yes, that's where we want to be. You're then going to lift your hips up and down. Easy peasy, right? Level 3 is you're going to lift the leg up. Now, I'm not thinking about my shoulder. I'm thinking about my underneath leg. So I want you to think of pushing into that knee or that foot that stays on the mat. Pushing down and up. That's it. 2 more. 2. Good. Now, this last one, we're going to hold it in the air. You're going to lift that underneath rib cage. You're going to stretch that hand towards the ceiling. You're going to push that underneath leg into the floor. You're going to give me 8 little lifts with the leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly bend the knee in. Lower the hips down and come and sit yourself up. You okay there, Rachel? It's really tough, huh? And it doesn't get easier, I swear. It doesn't matter how strong you are. I think side plank is always a beast. So you're going to take the arm that was on the floor and I want you to reach it up towards the ceiling. This is our modified mermaid. We're thinking we're tall. We want to think of lengthening that side that was just doing all that work. Big breath in. Woo. We're going to put the hand down. We're going to swing those legs around. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So remember, you can either have heels in line with your bottom or your top leg is going to be straight. Everybody's going to push their forearm into the mat and lift your underneath rib cage. You're going to push that underneath foot into the floor. Now remember, if it's too hard with the foot up, you can leave your foot down. Yeah, so this is option 2. Option 3 is you have that top leg lifted. But the more you push down through that bottom leg, we have to work that underneath hip. We have to work our obliques and our side abdominals and our shoulders. So it's a huge one. 4 more reps here. 4. Good. On that forearm. 3. Good. 2. Last one. So we hold it here. 8 little pulses with the leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly bend the knee in. Lower the hips down. Sit yourself up. Take that arm that was working and reach it up towards the ceiling. Ooh, nice, guys. Okay, so we're going to come onto our backs again. Grab your resistance band because we're going to have a nice stretch and a nice cool down. Yeah? So you might want to use your cushion to support your head. We're going to come onto our back. And we're going to start off with a nice hip roll. So I actually want you to take your feet nice and wide, probably the width of your mat, okay? Arms are going to be either in a T shape or in a low V, whichever is more comfortable for your shoulder joint. And you're going to drop both of your knees over to the right, but you must keep your shoulder blades on the mat. You're then going to roll the knees to center and drop them to the left. Now, as you do this, sometimes it feels nice to turn the head in the opposite direction. This just gives us a nice stretch and a bit of relief down the side. And then changing to the other direction. Good, guys. One more in each direction. Super gentle, like you could melt into the floor. And up, last one here. Beautiful. Now, from there, what I want you to do is bring the feet back in line with the hips, cross the right ankle over the left, okay? Now, I want you to push your knee forward, okay? So you push your knee towards your feet. You're then going to lift the other or both the legs off the mat. So now we're in a figure 4 stretch. Now, you can pull your foot with your left hand and push your foot with your right hand. And this is going to give you a big stretch in your right glute. The more you pull your legs towards your chest at the same time, the deeper stretch you're going to feel. And we want to really stretch out that side glute. So we're going to give it a good pull. Hold it there for a breath or 2. Okay. And then slowly lower back down. From there, we're going to cross the other leg over. So left ankle over right. Push that left knee towards the feet. Lift the legs and pull the right, or pull the foot with the right hand. Push the knee with the left hand and keep drawing those legs towards you. So we're creating that stretch, right? We're creating that resistance. Couple nice deep breaths here. A lot of us will probably feel we've got a bit of tightness through that hip. So really make sure you stretch these out. And you can recreate this sat on a chair. So if you find that you're working at a desk a lot, this is a cheeky one you can do when no one's looking. Or actually, I do it when people look anyway. And then come back down. So from there, we're going to grab our bands, guys, and we're going to pop our foot into the band. You want to make sure It's across the ball of the foot. And obviously, the higher up the band, the more tension you have on it. You can leave your left leg bent, or you can straighten it along the mat, however feels best for you. I want you to start by pointing and flexing your foot, okay? Now, this is important because we want to stretch those calves and we want to mobilize our ankle, okay? It tends to be a bit apart, a bit that gets a bit sticky. So really make sure you keep working through the ankle, yeah? Now, once you've finished your last one there, finish with the foot flex. So you're going to pull your toes towards you. And I want you to straighten the back of the knee. What often will happen is the knee will bend, straighten it. Even if it means you have to lower the leg slightly, but you can keep your leg dead straight, yeah? Then, keeping that beautifully straight leg, you're gently going to use your arms to help pull the leg towards you. When you start to feel the knee bend or the ankle loses its tension, stop. Take a couple nice deep breaths here. In through the nose, out through the mouth. 2 more. In and out. Last one. And then from there, I want you to pull it a little bit closer than it was before. Yes. Then you're going to get a little shake in that. Maybe you're going to want to point that foot, keep it flexed, hold it here. 3 deep breaths. 2 and 1. And then you're gently going to release the tension on that band. Now, from there, we need to grab both ends of the band with both hands. You're going to take your leg across your body and you're going to reach it up towards your opposite shoulder. So this should give you a nice big stretch down the side of the leg. Some people feel it into the back of the leg, and if that's the case, try and create more of a diagonal, right, with your leg. You can if the hip lifts, ideally you want to try and press your hip into the floor so that you've got that anchor. You hold it there, you should get that lovely stretch down the side of the leg. And then you're gently going to bring the leg back to center. Keeping that foot in the band, we're going to change sides. So you're going to then lift your left leg up, put that left foot in the band, take the right foot out. Same thing we start with, just pointing and flexing. Pointing and flexing. So lots of nice work into that ankle, keeping our tension on the band if we can. And then once you've felt that ankle start to loosen up, or you've got a bit of a stretch in that calf, keep the foot flexed, so pull the toes towards you, straighten the leg as much as you can. Pull the leg close to you until you feel that that muscle kind of wants to stop you. Hold it there, take those nice deep breaths in and out. We've got to use our breath to trick our body. Tell it it's nice and safe. Allow that muscle to release. And when you do your next exhale, I want you to see if it will come a little bit closer than it went before. And then take those nice deep breaths. But really stretch the back of that knee. If my leg's bent, I'm not going to get that same stretch. So you've got to keep it straight, even if you feel like, oh, it's not going very far. But if you're keeping your tailbone down, your knee straight and your foot flexed, you're really going to feel the benefits even more than it being super close to your body, yeah? So once you've held it there, you've got your last final deep breath. We take both ends of the band into both hands. We draw our leg across the body and up towards our opposite shoulders. Think of it going on a diagonal. We want to keep it as straight as we can. We want to anchor our opposite hip into the floor. And you're going to take those nice deep breaths here. 3 deep breaths. This is stretching through the TFL. So it's this muscle that sits right at the top of the hip. Some people feel it in the back of the leg. That's the outer hamstring pulling. Some people will feel it down the sides. Often that goes into the lower leg as well. So it really is just dependent on you personally. Yeah. And if you feel it somewhere that I didn't say, then don't worry. It's just your body, yeah? Come back through center nice and slowly. Take that foot out of the band and just stretch your legs along the mat. And I want you to just give them a little wiggle from side to side. Give them a little shake. Yes. Good, guys. Beautiful. And from there, I want you to close your eyes for me. And I want you to just take those nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. the same way we did in the beginning of class. But I want you to just do a little body scan from head to toe. I want you to notice if you feel any changes in your body. Maybe you've got some nice sensations in your legs because we've done those lovely stretches. Maybe your hips feel a little bit looser. Maybe you've not got as much tension through your shoulders. And then I want you to just focus on your breath now. And I want you to just notice where it is. Do you find it's a little bit easier to breathe into that belly, or is it a little bit easier to get that deeper breath? You know, maybe do we feel a bit of breath into the backs and sides of the rib cage? Okay, you're going to give me 3 final deep breaths here. In through the nose. And as you exhale, just relax. Release. 2 more. Big breath in. And we get that beautiful release. Last one, best one ever. Big breath in. And then release. Then just slowly let that breath come back to a nice normal rhythm. Maybe give your fingers and your toes a little wiggle. When you're ready, you can roll onto your side and sit yourself up. And you guys are all done.